What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we are checking out the latest electric scooter from Anyhill called the UM-2. So this is a scooter that has a top speed of 31 kilometers an hour. It is powered by a 450 watt motor that's in the rear wheel here. We also have a removable battery. This is something that you don't typically see. So the battery is located right here. There is a lock on this side and you can remove the battery, and this way you can charge it at home, at the office or whatever. So it is a very uniquely designed scooter, I'm gonna say. This is also foldable, so it has a more unique folding design. So we have the folding mechanism right here. So it folds differently than most other scooters out there, and I was quite surprised to see how good the folding mechanism is, because with a lot of scooter they kind of shake, they move. Well, that's not the case with this one. So this is a very well built scooter. But we'll talk more about that later on. Let's start a bit of an unboxing just so I can show you the box and how the scooter comes packed in the box. Alright, so like most scooters out there, this one comes in a fairly big box, but the scooter is very well packed inside the box. Now you do have to do a bit of an installation when you first take this out, so you basically have to put the handlebar together with the scooter. It takes about 5-7 minutes to get this ready and on the road. So very simple installation. You basically connect that cable, you put those screws in, and you're ready to go. Design-wise and build quality, this is actually better than a lot of scooters that I got to try in the past. It feels premium, even though it's not that expensive, and I would actually compare this with a very well-known brand like New. So even though this is a fairly new brand, I'm gonna say Anyhill, build quality and design, it is better than a lot of scooters out there. So we have 10-inch inflatable tires on the back and on the front, and because we have inflatable tires, the ride quality is also smoother than other scooters that don't have inflatable tires. Now, of course, it would be nice to have a front and rear suspension or a front suspension. So the ride quality is fairly smooth, but I did have better with other scooters out there. Now with this one we get the motor in the rear wheel. So this is a 450 watt motor in the rear wheel that has a peak power of 750 watts. Now on the front here we have the front drum brake. So I have to say that I was a bit skeptical knowing that this only has one brake technically. So we have a drum brake on the front, but the scooter also uses motor brakes, so kind of like regenerative braking on cars, and that's done through the rear motor, of course. And actually the braking experience from this scooter is better than a lot of other scooters that I tried in the past that have a front and rear brake. So we actually have a brake lever on the handlebar here. So whenever you're using this one, you basically do motor braking, which is very smooth, very quiet, and supposedly it also regenerates some power. I'm not sure about that, but the braking from the rear wheel, which is just motor braking, it is extremely smooth. And if you need a bit faster braking and more powerful braking, of course you have the front drum brake. So the braking experience on this scooter is much better than I anticipated. As I mentioned earlier, the battery pack is located right here. So you're basically standing on top of the battery pack. Right here we can open this, and then we have a couple of keys, and you can remove the battery pack from this. So this way you can take this in the office, at home, and you can charge it and then put it back in the scooter. Now you can also charge it while this is in the scooter. So we have the charging port on the right hand side of the scooter here. So it is easy to charge it in the scooter or at home, but this makes it easier, so you can actually take that battery pack with you basically. And whenever you're done with this, you just push on it and it closes. That easy. The folding mechanism is also quite unique. So we have the folding latch, I'm gonna say, right here. So you pull on this and then this closes. That's simple, and then you can carry it. This weighs 20 kilos, so not the lightest, not the heaviest scooter out there. So the way it folds, you can actually fit it in a lot of places. You can take it to the office, you can probably put it under your desk, you can easily put it in your car's trunk and so on. So to open this, we have a little button on the side here. That easy. So a very unique folding mechanism. Now here you can also see the kickstand. So this is what they call a double kickstand. So not like most scooters that have one kickstand. So with this one, you can put it from either side, and the scooter is also quite secure when it sits on that kickstand. So one of the unique features of this scooter, I'm gonna say. Of course, we have a front and rear light. They're both bright enough to be seen even during the day, and of course they're super bright if you ride at night, so it can light up the path ahead of you, and that rear light is also super bright, so it can be seen really well at night. Now, the light on this one is on the frame. So the downside to the light that's on the frame is the fact that whenever you are turning the wheel left or right, so the handlebar, the light is kind of going straight, so the light is kind of behind you if you are turning, if that makes any sense. But other than that, the light is very bright, and of course you can turn it on and off from a button right here on the little display. Moving to the handlebars here, well, the handlebar is not the widest handlebar that I got to try on a scooter. I wish it would have been slightly wider. The grips here don't seem to move. On the left hand side here we have the brake lever for basically the electronic brake on the back, which is the motor brake. Then we have the accelerator here. In order to get this going, you basically have to push yourself so the scooter gains like a bit of speed. I believe it engages around 3 kilometers an hour. So you first start moving and then you accelerate. From here, the top speed on this scooter is 31 kilometers an hour, and there are 3 modes available. In the mode number 3, which is the sport mode, basically, the top speed is 31 kilometers an hour. We have a little bell right here, and of course the brake lever for the drum brake that we have on the front. In the middle here we have the little display, and we also have a button underneath that display. Now, the downside of this display is the fact that you cannot see it in direct sunlight. So if it's bright out like it is today, you can't really see anything on this screen. If it's not as bright, of course, you can see how much battery you have, the speed that you're doing, the mode that you're in, if you have the cruise control on or off. So to activate the cruise control, you basically click on this button 3 times, and then the cruise control kind of gets enabled. So if you hold the accelerator pressed for a few seconds, it kind of enables. So you can turn that on and off. All right, next we are talking about range and power. So according to the manufacturer, you can get up to 45 kilometers on one charge. It takes about 5 hours to charge. The battery that I mentioned is at the bottom there. Now, for me personally, and the terrain that I've been riding on, I was able to get about 30 kilometers on one charge. I guess 30 kilometers is not bad, but it is a bit off from that 45 kilometers that the manufacturer suggests. As for power, if you're riding on flat surfaces, you have plenty of power, and you can reach that 31 kilometers an hour without any issues. Now, if you do go riding uphill, depending on what kind of a hill you're riding, how heavy you are, the name Anyhill kind of becomes no hill, because you're not going to be able to climb most hills. And I'm actually going to take you on a little test ride so I can show you how the scooter stops when you go on a steeper hill, basically. And I guess I can also show you how the scooter works, how the braking system works. So let me grab that camera, I'll put it on my chest here, and we'll go for a little ride. Alright, so I'll quickly show you how this works. So this is the power button here. This is kind of like the motor brake. This is the accelerator, and that's of course the brake lever that goes to the front drum. So to turn this on, you hold this pressed for a couple of seconds. And then you can also switch modes. So we have 3 modes available, and to switch in between them, you basically double tap on this. So this is the sport mode. So this is the mode that will give you the top speed of the scooter, basically. So to get this going, you have to start moving, and then you accelerate. So first, let's get our top speed. I can barely see that screen though. So the top speed for me and for my weight is 27 kilometers an hour. And next I'm going to show you how the motor brake works first. So that's the rear brake. So it's basically using the motor to brake. So nice and smooth, and it does seem to work quite decent as well. And next I'll show you how the front brake works. So that is a drum brake. So we'll use the front brake for this braking. So if you pull on that lever, it will stop, but it is ideal to use a combination of the rear and front. So much quicker if you do the rear brake and the front brake together. So top speed 27 kilometers an hour for my weight, and that's how the braking works. So we'll use both brakes from the top speed. So pretty good braking, I'm gonna say, even though I was a bit concerned about having only that drum brake on the front. So that's simple to ride on this scooter. Alright, and next we are moving on to a quick hill climbing test. In all fairness, the only scooter that was able to take me up this hill was the Varla Pegasus. So much more expensive scooter. This one is already slowing down. So this is the maximum acceleration and we are slowing down quite a lot. And it's probably gonna stop somewhere around here. So you're gonna have to push this scooter up the hill, even though it is called Anyhill, more like no hill. There is also an app that works with this scooter, and from that app you can see how many kilometers the scooter has done, and you can also lock the scooter. You can turn on and off the lights as well. So right now I have the scooter locked. So what happens when you lock it? Basically the rear tire is kind of locked. So it makes stealing the scooter a bit more difficult. And of course, if you try to move it hard enough, it also beeps. So that app could also be handy if you just stop the scooter for a couple of minutes so someone doesn't quickly steal it, basically. So it's nice to have the app support as well. Alright, so to quickly conclude this video, the build quality from this scooter is one of the best that I've seen for any scooter in the past year and a half. I'm gonna say, so really good build quality. It doesn't squeak, it doesn't make any noises. The materials everywhere are really nice, except the material covering the screen here. This is plastic, so every time you kind of clean this, you do leave some marks on that screen. But you can't really see the screen in direct sunlight anyways. But aside from that, the build quality, the way it folds, the battery design is very unique and very well thought of. Now, there is one thing that I've noticed. So if you do ride in a setting where there is like sand and stuff like that, there will be sand going in between the battery and its enclosure, I'm gonna say, so around here. So that makes it a bit more difficult to take this out in some situations. I only had that happening once, but it is possible that that may happen. But overall, I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10 for build quality and design. It is actually better built than a lot of scooters out there. So I was quite impressed by the build quality that we get. Now, of course, I would have liked to see a disc brake on the front, maybe a front suspension, a rear suspension would have been nice, but of course, all that, it would increase the price of the scooter, and probably some of the design features would have to be removed. Overall, it is a super nice scooter for in-town riding. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.